Well, we have taken the stove on the road. We are here at the beautiful Rhode Island Kitchen and Bath showroom in Jefferson Boulevard in Warwick. And joining me today is Chef Kevin Goudreau of Ardeo at 1 Union Station?
Correct, in Providence.
In Providence, and we'll talk more about the restaurant in just a little bit. Tell me what we're cooking here today.
We're going to do a little pumpkin risotto. I found some great sugar pumpkins in the fields down in my house, so we pulled them out, and perfect timing this time of the year to start making some risotto, some pumpkin. And it's going to pair well with the great stuff that Mark brought, so looking forward to it.
We'll talk more about that later. Really looks good, really colorful, good comfort food, good football eating kind of food. All right, tell me the ingredients that we have here.
We're going to use a little arborio rice, risotto. It's a short grain, starchy rice. These are the roasted sugar pumpkins. I make a puree out of that, and we're going to stain the rice with that. Okay. I toasted the pumpkin seeds from that. For a garnish later, we're going to do some English peas, some plum tomatoes, a little shallot, a little butter, a little salt. Finish it off with this fresh sage.
Okay.
So real simple.
It sounds pretty simple. So why don't we start cooking? And while you're doing that, tell us how you actually roast the pumpkin.
Sure. It's very simple. All you need to do is get your pumpkin, wash it down, cut it right in half, scoop the guts out, save the seeds, reserve those, throw the inside mess out. What you want to do is just hit the seeds with a little salt, put them in the oven like 300 degrees for like 10 minutes so they crisp up and get some nice color.
Yeah.
And the pumpkins themselves, about 45 minutes at 300 degrees, they get nice and soft. And basically what you can do is you'll be able to scrape it all up and then puree it, and you'll come up with this.
Really?
All right, I'm going to get this going then.
All right, let's start it.
Add my rice. What you want to do is you want to lightly saute the rice to get the starches starting to release.
So you put olive oil in the pan first of all?
A little olive oil. I'm going to put some shallots in there to kind of flavor builder. You're going to hear the sizzle coming up here, which is what we're looking for.
There you go. You can smell the shallots already, too.
Smells great. And what you want to do is, you're only going to spend about, a minute just kind of reducing this down, getting the rice. Hey, wake up, guys. It's time to start cooking. Everyone gets a little tired. I'm going to actually season it a little with a little salt. So, we're about 30 seconds out. We're going to let this kind of translucent appearance come out, and when we're done with that, we're going to hit it with some stock, and then continue to stir the rice. You don't want it sticking to the bottom of the pan. That's the pain with making risotto. It's a labor of love. You're constantly stirring.
It's like a baby.
You got to be there with it for at least half hour, 40 minutes to get it to a great consistency like that.
Okay.
So that's where I am right now.
All right. We'll put all this stuff in, and we'll be eating pumpkin risotto coming up a little while. Now, coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to learn more about the restaurant, Ardeo, which is located at 1 Union Station in Providence. We're also going to be talking with Steve St. Ange from Rhode Island Kitchen and Bath, learn about all the events that are going on here. But for now, we'll send it back to you. Thank you. We are back here in the kitchen, but obviously this is not the Roadshow kitchen. We're at the beautiful Rhode Island Kitchen and Bath showroom. It's a live showroom. We have a working stove here, and joining me today from Rhode Island Kitchen and Bath is Steve St. Ange. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
What do we got going on here?
Well, this is one of our ongoing Visiting Chef Series programs. Not only is this for the Roadshow program, but we actually do this live in the showroom. We invite all of our previous clients, potential clients, and anybody who's coming by that interested in the kitchen or bath, come in and join us and have some fun here in the showroom. So
today we're cooking up pumpkin risotto, and Chef Kevin's working hard on that. But there's other dates coming up, right?
Yeah, we do this about once a month. And in fact, last month we did an Oktoberfest. If you didn't catch that, that was an awful lot of fun. But next month, November 14th, which is another Saturday, runs about noon to 2. We have Chef Paul Wade coming from the Stonehouse in Little Compton. He's going to do some really super stuff for us. And then the following week, we're actually doing 2 in November. November 21st, we have Kelly Thomas coming from Becoming Italian, and she's doing some nice Italian things for us. And then there's also going to be a cooking class that she's going to run after that. So lots of things happening here.
Lots of things. Now, this free to the public?
This is free, open to the public. And you can go to rikb.com, and there's a listing of events that are happening, and it'll all be there. And anybody wants to come down, noon to 2 on Saturday is pretty much when it happens. Just watch for the particular Saturday we're doing it.
And of course, you can always go to foxprovidence.com to find out more information on this. Now, coming up in a little bit, we're going to be going back to Chef Kevin, who's cooking up our gorgeous pumpkin risotto here. We're also going to be talking about what wines might go well with the pumpkin risotto, and a special seasonal beer that we'll be talking about as well. But for now, back to you.
Right up our alley.
We have taken the Roadshow on the road. We are here at Rhode Island Kitchen and Bath showroom located on Jefferson Boulevard in Warwick. Chef Kevin from the restaurant Ardeo, which is located in Providence, is cooking up some pumpkin risotto, and it looks so good and it smells so good. But before we talk about that in his restaurant, I'd like to bring in Mark. He's from the People's Liquor Warehouse located in Warwick. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you here. Where can we find your liquor store?
It's at 1350 Greenwich Avenue. It's just behind City Hall.
Okay, now we're cooking up some pumpkin risotto here, and you've brought a couple of wines and also a seasonal beer as well. Tell me about the wines first.
Sure. What I've got here for a red is I've got a beautiful Pinot Noir La Crema from Sonoma, and paired with it the La Crema Chardonnay also from Sonoma. Nice creaminess. I think it will go well with the pumpkin risotto. And then I have the Saranac Pumpkin Ale.
Okay, now what about the red wine makes it go so well with the pumpkin risotto, do you think?
Well, there's a bright fruit to a Pinot Noir, and there's a touch of spice on the end of it. I know he's got some sage in there. And I think the pumpkin, when you really think about Thanksgiving, when you think about harvest foods, you start thinking about Pinot Noir.
Okay, and the white wine, what makes that so interesting with this?
Well, whenever you're doing a white wine, you want to see if it's an acidic food or if there's a lot of creaminess to it. And when you talk about a risotto, there's plenty of butter. And so a La Crema just finishes with a beautiful brush of butter at the end. I think it will pair nicely.
Now, there are a lot of different autumn kind of beers that are out there right now, and you brought one from Saranac Brewery. Tell me about that.
Well, pumpkin ales are really popular, and I know people say that, and they say pumpkin beer. You know, they used to say that about blueberry beer too. But it's really like a piece of pumpkin pie stuck right in your beer, you know? So it's a dessert ready to go, and they're beautiful. You get the pumpkin aspect, even a touch of cinnamon to it, and then it finishes like a beer.
Is it overpowering the pumpkin taste? Or?
No, not usually. I mean, it varies depending on which one you get, but I find that this pretty much falls right in the middle.
Okay, and again, we can find you the People's Liquor Warehouse, located on 1350 Greenwich Ave in Warwick, in the Apponaug section of Warwick.
That's correct. If you're from Warwick, it's Apponaug. Yeah.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much for joining us. And now we're going to go back over here to Chef Kevin. He's cooking up some pumpkin risotto. And just quickly, kind of go over the ingredients again. We got some roasted pumpkin.
We got some roasted pumpkin. We made a puree out of it. We're using the arborio rice, which is risotto.
Yeah.
It's a short grain, creamy rice, lightly sauteed. We use a little vegetable stock to start the creaminess, a little butter, some fresh herbs. From the roasted pumpkins, I made a puree. This is where you're going to get this color from, and a lot of flavors coming in there. Finished it off with some English peas and some nice bright plum tomatoes. I'm plating one up right now.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Tell me a little bit about your restaurant, Ardeo.
Sure, Ardeo, it's new to the area. We have 3 locations on the Cape. We have in Yarmouth, we have one in Brewster, and one in Hyannis. We just opened up at one Union Station in Providence about 5 weeks ago. We serve Mediterranean cuisine. We've got some traditional stuff. We have some baba ganoush, hummus. We have some great recipes, real traditional. The family, Joe Jamil and his wife, they run the restaurants. He's Lebanese. He's got some great recipes. So the food's really fresh. Everything's made on premise. And then the chefs have a lot of ability to create some of their own things using fresh local ingredients and seafood and meats.
So you can get some really good seasonal stuff there, I would imagine.
Great
too.
stuff right now. Our corporate chef, Rob Bono, is doing a wonderful job right now. He's doing some duck with some cider reductions and really nice fall things. Great leg of lamb dishes going on right now, too. So.
Now you've plated this up for us.
Correct. This is this is a one serving size right here. Great thing is risotto. You can serve it in a bowl. You can serve it in a plate. This is how we would present it in a restaurant, either as an appetizer. If you wanted to, the great thing about risotto is very versatile. If you wanted to throw some duck confit or some seared scallops or shrimp or something like that in, it's a great medium to create a wonderful dish. Or it sits alone, just as it is right now.
Now, what do you have on the side of the plate there? No, it looks almost like a little pesto or something.
Exactly. I took a little. I made a little sage pesto to kind of marry in with the flavors that I'm using with the fresh sage and the thyme in the risotto. And this is just a little balsamic reduction, kind of sweet and tart at the same time. Kind of plays nice with the creaminess and the sweetness of the peas.
Okay. Well, sounds very good. Thank you very much, Kevin, for joining us. And you can get his go to his restaurant in 1 Union Station in Providence, 7 days a week. And the name of the restaurant is Ardeo. But for now, let's get a check on the weather.